She thought she was just walking home, until a stranger suddenly stopped his car beside her. At first, she felt scared, but what he did next shocked the entire neighborhood. Winter had arrived earlier than usual that year. The air was sharp, the wind was cold, and the sidewalks of the city were covered with thin layers of frost. People walked quickly, keeping their hands inside their pockets and their heads, lowered against the chilly breeze. It was one of those mornings where everyone just wanted to get inside somewhere warm. But for 8-year-old Amara, the morning felt a little different. Amara was a cheerful little girl who always seemed to notice things other people missed. She had big, curious eyes and a warm smile that often made strangers smile, back without even realizing it. That morning, she was walking to school with her mother. Amara wore a bright red coat that her grandmother had given her just a few weeks earlier. It was her favorite coat in the whole world, not only because it was warm, but because it made her feel special. Her grandmother had said something when she gave it to her. "This coat will keep you warm," she told Amara, "but your kindness will warm other people." At the time, Amara didn't fully understand what that meant, but she remembered those words. The streets were busy with people heading to work, buses moving through intersections, and children walking to school with their parents. As they reached the corner near a small park, Amara noticed something that made her slow down. Near a bench by the sidewalk sat an elderly man. He looked tired and cold, very cold. He wore thin clothes that didn't seem warm enough for the weather. His hands were tucked close to his body, and his shoulders were slightly shaking as the wind blew past him. Most people walked by without stopping. Some glanced quickly, then looked away. Amara kept staring. "Mom," she said softly. Her mother looked down. "Yes, sweetie? That man looks cold." Her mother noticed him too. She paused for a moment, clearly concerned. But the morning rush of people moving around them made the moment feel quick and complicated. "I think you might be waiting for someone," her mother said gently. But Amara didn't stop looking. The man rubbed his hands together, trying to warm them. The wind picked up again, and that's when something changed in Amara's mind. She remembered her grandmother's words. "Your kindness will warm other people." Amara slowly reached up and touched the zipper of her red coat. Her mother didn't notice at first. But then Amara did something unexpected. She stopped walking. Her mother turned around. "Amara?" The little girl looked back toward the elderly man again. "Mom, can I help him?" Her mother looked surprised by the question. "Well, what do you mean?" Amara took a deep breath. And then she started unzipping her coat. Her mother quickly understood what she was thinking. "Oh, honey," she said softly, kneeling beside her. "It's really cold today." But Amara's expression was serious in a way that felt far beyond her age. "He's colder than me," she said. For a moment, her mother didn't know what to say. She looked toward the elderly man again, then back at Amara. Sometimes children see the world in the simplest and most honest way. And this was one of those moments. Amara carefully took off her red coat. The cold air immediately touched her sweater underneath. But she didn't seem to care. She held the coat in her small hands and looked toward the bench. Her mother gently spoke again. "Are you sure?" Amara nodded. "Yes." So together they walked toward the man. As they approached, the man looked up slowly. His eyes showed surprise. He probably didn't expect anyone to stop. "Good morning," Amara's mother said kindly. The man nodded slightly. "Morning," he replied quietly. Then Amara stepped forward. She held out the coat. "This will keep you warm," she said. For a moment, the man didn't move. He looked confused. Then he looked at the coat. Then at the little girl. "You're giving this to me?" he asked gently. Amara nodded again. "Yes, you look cold." The man's eyes suddenly filled with emotion. He seemed completely shocked. People nearby had started noticing the moment. A few slowed down. One woman stopped walking. A man across the street turned his head to watch. Because what was happening wasn't something people saw every day. The elderly man carefully took the coat. His hands trembled slightly, maybe from the cold or maybe from something deeper. "Thank you," he said quietly. Amara smiled. "You're welcome." Her mother gently wrapped an arm around her to keep her warm. But none of them realized yet that someone nearby had just recorded the entire moment. And what would happen next would soon touch thousands of people across the city. For a few seconds after Amara handed over her coat, everything felt very quiet. The cold wind still moved through the street, cars continued passing by, and people walked along the sidewalk like before. But something about that moment had changed. The elderly man slowly placed the red coat over his shoulders. It was a little small for him, but it still helped block the cold wind. He looked at Amara again, clearly moved by what she had done. "You didn't have to do that," he said softly. Amara simply smiled. "My grandma says kindness is important." The man nodded slowly, almost as if those words meant more to him than anyone realized. But what Amara didn't know was that someone nearby had just recorded the entire moment on their phone. A woman who had stopped earlier was standing near a coffee shop entrance. She had seen the little girl take off her coat and give it away without hesitation. It surprised her so much that she quietly started recording, not because she expected anything big to happen, but because the moment felt real and rare. Meanwhile, Amara's mother gently rubbed her daughter's arms to keep her warm. "All right," she said softly. "Let's get you to school before you freeze." Amara laughed a little. "I'm okay." The elderly man spoke again before they could leave. "Wait." They both turned back. He looked at Amara with deep gratitude. "You just made my entire day better." Amara smiled shyly. That small sentence alone would have been enough to make the moment special, but the story didn't end there, because something unexpected happened next. As Amara and her mother began walking toward the school again, the woman who recorded the moment approached them. "Excuse me," she said kindly. Amara's mother looked at her. "Yes, I just want you to know, what your daughter did was really beautiful." She showed them the video briefly on her phone. Amara looked surprised. "People might like seeing this," the woman said. "It reminds everyone that kindness still exists." Amara's mother smiled politely, not thinking too much about it. "That's very kind of you," she replied. But neither of them realized how fast things can spread online. Within a few hours, that short video was posted. At first, only a few people watched it. Then a few more shared it. Then dozens, then hundreds. By the afternoon, something incredible started happening. People across the city began talking about the video. Comments started appearing. "This little girl has a bigger heart than most adults. This made my day. We need more kindness like this." But the most surprising reaction came from someone no one expected. Late that afternoon, the elderly man from the bench was seen again, this time near a small community center a few blocks away. He had kept the red coat carefully wrapped around him, and he was telling someone about the little girl who had helped him. That someone happened to be a local volunteer group leader. When they heard the story and saw the video, they were deeply touched. They decided to do something about it. Meanwhile, Amara had no idea what was happening. She was simply sitting in her classroom, learning math like any normal school day. Her teacher suddenly received a message on her phone. Then another. Then another. She looked surprised. Very surprised. After class ended, the teacher walked over to Amara. "Amara," she said gently. "Yes?" "Did you give your coat to someone this morning?" Amara nodded. "Yes." Her teacher smiled warmly. "Well, a lot of people are talking about it." Amara looked confused. "Why?" Her teacher turned the phone toward her. It was the video, and it already had thousands of views. Amara blinked in surprise. "I didn't do anything special," she said quietly. But outside the classroom, people were beginning to feel something powerful, because sometimes the smallest acts of kindness remind the world of something important. And what happened next, no one in the city expected, not even Amara. By the time school ended that day, something incredible had already started happening across the city. The video of Amara giving her coat away was spreading faster than anyone expected. People were sharing it with friends, posting it on social media, and leaving comments about how much the moment meant to them. Many people said the same thing. Stories like this remind us the world still has kindness. But Amara didn't really understand how big the moment had become. When she walked out of school that afternoon, she was just thinking about one thing. It was cold, and she no longer had her favorite red coat. Her mother was waiting outside the school gates. As soon as Amara ran toward her, her mom hugged her tightly. "Guess what?" her mom said. "What?" Amara asked. "You've made a lot of people smile today." Amara tilted her head slightly. "How?" Before her mom could answer, something surprising happened. A car pulled up near the school entrance. Then another one, and another. Soon a small group of people began gathering nearby. At first, Amara thought something was wrong. But then she noticed something strange. Some of the people were holding coats. Warm coats, colorful coats. Big ones, small ones, winter jackets, scarves, and blankets. Amara looked confused. "What's going on?" she asked. Her mother smiled. "Remember the video?" Amara nodded. "Well, people saw it, and those people wanted to do something kind too. The volunteer group leader who had spoken to the elderly man earlier had organized something very quickly. They called it the kindness chain. Their idea was simple. If one little girl could help someone stay warm, then the whole community could help many more. Within just a few hours, people began bringing coats to donate. Families, students, neighbors, even strangers from other parts of the city. The small gathering outside the school slowly turned into something beautiful. People placed coats on a long table. Some children helped organize them. Others wrote small notes like, "Stay warm. You matter. Kindness is powerful." Amara stood there quietly, watching everything. She couldn't believe it. "Did this happen because of me?" she asked softly. Her mom knelt down beside her. "It happened because you cared." And that made all the difference. But something even more touching happened next. The elderly man from the bench arrived. He was still wearing the red coat. As soon as he saw Amara, he walked toward her slowly. A few people around them recognized him from the video. The crowd became quiet. The man smiled warmly. "I was hoping I'd see you again," he said. Amara smiled back. "Hi." He gently placed a hand over the coat. "This kept me warm all day," he said. Then he looked at the table filled with coats and shook his head in amazement. "I've never seen something like this." One of the volunteers spoke up. "This little girl started it." The man looked back at Amara with deep respect. "You did something special today," he said. Amara thought for a moment. Then she said something simple that made many people smile. "I just didn't want you to be cold." That sentence alone touched everyone there. Some people even wiped away tears, because the truth was simple. Kindness doesn't need a big reason, just a caring heart. Soon, more and more coats arrived. The small event quickly turned into a citywide effort. Local news stations came to cover the story. Reporters spoke about the young girl, whose simple act of kindness inspired an entire community. But the most heartwarming moment came later that evening. As the event ended and people began heading home, the volunteer leader walked up to Amara. They handed her something, a new coat, but not just any coat. It was red, just like the one she gave away. Amara's eyes widened. "For me?" she asked. The volunteer smiled. "Yes, because even heroes need to stay warm." The crowd around them applauded softly. Amara hugged the coat tightly, but then she did something that surprised everyone again. She looked at the table of donated coats. Then back at the volunteer. "Can we give this one to someone who needs it more?" The entire crowd went quiet. Then someone started clapping. Then another person. Soon everyone was applauding, because in that moment everyone realized something. This little girl's kindness wasn't just one act. It was who she was, and that's why the story touched so many hearts. The video continued spreading online for days. Millions of people watched it. But the real impact wasn't the views. It was the chain reaction of kindness that followed. Dozens of shelters received coats that week. Families helped strangers. Neighbors helped neighbors. All because one 8-year-old girl saw someone cold and decided to help. Sometimes the smallest actions create the biggest change. And on that cold winter morning, Amara warmed an entire city.